Hello, everyone. Welcome to a very special edition of the Awesome Cast. This is, of course, an awesome interview because you're hearing my voice first. However, you will also hear the voice of our regular host, Basil. Hello, Basil.
Hello, hi everyone. How is everyone doing?
Very excited today. This is going to be very fun. It promises to be an interesting interview. We have guests that we are both very excited for maybe for probably very different reasons, but still. Melissa Sternenberg. Melissa, thank you so much for
Hi,
joining.
I'm so glad to be here. We took a little while to get me on because of all kinds of different things going on, mostly fun things, but I'm so glad to finally make it. I'm so excited to talk to you guys.
Absolutely. I'll start this off the way I always do. I will ask the layup question. That's not as much of a layup because, NDAs are a thing, but what are some of the things that you've been working on recently that you can talk to us about?
Oh gosh. Mostly, things have been kind of quiet lately, on the voiceover front, mostly because I've been focusing on my little girl Daisy. She's turning 5 soon, and so preschool and kindergarten ish things are happening. I've got some audiobooks that I do a lot of audiobook reading when character work is slow, but I have some things going on there that I'm working on. You can always find if you're into lesbian romance, you can always
Hey now.
find me narrating some really lovely books, I have to say, over on Audible. If any of you are, have memberships there and you want to hear more than 30 minutes of me at any given time, that's always an option for you guys. What else am I working on? I'm working on some I'm working on a video game or two. One of them is an ongoing role that I have already appeared in, but I'm not going to say which one it is because it's actually under a stage name
Oh, okay.
for reasons that are obvious. If you know what the game is, I will say it has broken Kickstarter records.
Ooh, all right then.
So if you're not sure
Exciting.
what it is, you can probably Google what video games have broken Kickstarter records and you will find which one it is.
Well, that is exciting. Um, so let's kind of shift gears. We're gonna get into the meat and potatoes of the
Yeah.
thing. What first made you take an interest in acting?
Well, I have been what I affectionately would say a complete nerd ever since I was little. I've always been someone who played pretend as a child, usually with my little sister, and it was something that I just never outgrew. Like I mentioned before we went live, I know quite a few fans in the anime community via LARPing. That is something that I have done. Not so recently anymore because, again, being a mom does take up a lot of my time. But, I really enjoy putting my head and my energy into other characters. And it's something that I just never outgrew. And it started, uh, when it went into the voice acting side of things. I never seriously wanted to be like a in-person actor. Like there was a point, I think a lot of girls want to be on Broadway at some point. They really start listening to Les Mis or Phantom of the Opera, and they're like, yes, I want to be on stage and sing. And they want, you just want the drama, as a little girl sometimes. And or I mean, I'm sure all kids like to be dramatic at certain points in their lives. But for me specifically, I was really into Sonic the Hedgehog Saturday Morning.
Yes.
And that was my fandom during late elementary school, all through mostly through middle school. And I just took a shining to Kath Soucie's performance as Princess Sally. And that was hugely influential for me. And so when Sonic Saturday Morning got canceled far too soon, I'm very sad. I will never get over it. Um, was like, okay, I really love all these voice actors. What other stuff do they do? And then I learned that, oh my gosh, Sonic the Hedgehog is Steve Urkel. Ha! Who would have known? So that just kind of opened the whole Pandora's box of, oh, these voices are in other things. And I started recognizing and pinpointing and like just doing the whole Charlie Day on the white, on the bulletin board
Yes.
thing. And that's what really got it for me. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start imitating these voices of characters that I roleplay as online. I'm really outing myself as a huge nerd here, I realize. And so that's what started it.
You're in
And
very good
I never
company, by the
outgrew it.
way.
What's that?
I said you're in very good company, by the way.
No, I'm so glad. And I mean, I never outgrew it. And what actually got me into the voice acting community online, where a lot of current professionals got started, was because one of my friends heard me imitating Mimi from Digimon, and they're like, "Oh, why don't you come check out the Voice Actors Alliance?" And that was the real start of it, I think. And that was back in 2006, 2007.
Just yet another great thing that Sonic AM was responsible for.
Many great things, and that's I miss it. I miss it a lot. I do love the Sonic movies though, even if Sally's not in them.
So let me ask, we've kind of touched on a little bit of it here, but who would you say has had the biggest impact on your career?
Kath Soucie, for sure. I would say Kath. I'm gonna just say the kids WB greats. Kath Soucie, Rob Paulson, Tress MacNeille, Jess Harnell. I was a huge fan of Freakazoid as well. That was a huge one for me as a middle schooler, because that was when like internet was really starting to gear up to be like the next big thing. For some of you out there, we didn't have the internet all the time when I was a teenager. It was not an everyday thing. But we certainly didn't have it in our hands. But yeah, so all those folks, gosh, who else? Basically anybody that you see on Tiny Toons or Animaniacs, Charlie Adler, oh gosh, Cree Summer, the who else? Anybody in the Sonic Saturday Morning for sure. I'm forgetting someone who I'm going to be very mad that I forgot. So I need to love Christine Cavanaugh. That's who. I was just like the late great Christine Cavanaugh. She was huge. I mean, not as much as Kath Soucie, but gosh, anytime I watched Babe solely so I could hear her voice. So that whole gang was really huge. And then later on in high school, when I started getting into wanting to voice act anime, the Ocean Group Studio, basically anybody that Viz Studio did for their English dubs, because back then English dubs would come out before the Japanese subtitles. So I'd always get those first because I want to see what happens. So like Brad Swale was my number one fave. I liked him a lot. I have a funny story about that, but I'm not sure if we'll share. But we might share that one offline.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
But yeah, basically anybody in Ocean Group, anybody who was in X-Men Evolution, Ranma 1/2. I liked the folks from the Pioneer dubs back in the 90s. Any of the 90s dubbers I was really into. They were hugely influential as well.
90s anime is such a special place.
It is. There's really, really good, at least for me. Mainly not. And then there's like the really, really like, oh my gosh, what were they thinking? Like the ones that were really good are like the people that you can tell were having a lot of fun, like Blue Seed. Blue Seed is one of my favorite dubs of all time. I love it. You can tell they're having the time of their lives. So good. If you guys have not watched Blue Seed, check out the dub, even just for a few episodes. It is amazing.
Shout outs to Amanda Winley.
Yes, Amanda. Mwah, 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 mwah. Love you. Tiffany Grant. Mwah, 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 mwah. Love you.
Oh, yeah. My wife, we were at a smaller anime con that Tiffany was a guest for, and Anna busted out her Blue Sea DVDs for her to sign, and she was
oh my God.
so
Komei's
excited.
My favorite character. Komei and Yagashi. OTP. I love them. But do the kids still say OTP? Is that still a thing? Anyway, but yeah, I love them so much. But yeah, so I just really love the scripting and just the energy and personality that was put into the scripts back then, and how different for me, what I really love, what to me makes a great dub, is I can be looking away from the screen and I can tell who's talking.
Yes.
And that's why I'm sure we're going to get to it. That's why I really love the Gunbuster dub so much.
Oh, it's so good.
I'm just like, I can, like, when you can hear the voices in your head from everybody after you've turned off the Blu-ray, that's when you know it's a good dub.
Yeah, it's only been out for a couple of months, and I've watched it at least half a dozen times or more.
Oh, thank you. It's so good.
It is.
I'm so happy with it. It gave Marissa knows what makes a good That makes a good dub.
Yeah, Marissa definitely does. Yeah, I've worked my way through the cast very slowly. I've already talked to Marissa, I've talked to Cayenne, we're talking to you. I'm gonna get everybody. That's
You gotta.
yeah, I'm gonna Pokemon this thing.
It's really funny. Before we were casting Gunbuster, Bradley, I heard him on, I think it was some sort of Metal Gear Solid project. It was like a live action YouTube video that got dubbed over, and I heard him, and I was like, I know I've heard his voice before. And so I stalked him on Twitter, and I was like, and I messaged him, I was saying, hey, I know you. I've heard you somewhere. We were in something before. And it turns out we weren't, but I heard him, but he sounded like, he just sounded so distinct. I'm just like, I've heard your voice before and I cannot forget it. And so I was like, okay, this is awkward, but I really like your stuff. So I'm going to follow you anyway. You're really cool. And then we got cast as the coach in Kazumi. I'm like, oh no, this is awkward. I'm like, but also like, oh yes.
If it wasn't awkward before, it's gonna get awkward now.
I was just like, oh no, but also, oh yes, this is gonna sound amazing.
Yes. Yeah, you guys killed it. You guys really did. You saying that reminds me of, I want to say, was it episode 3 where you guys have the duet?
Oh my gosh, the duet. Yes.
It's
I
like,
have not listened to it yet. I need to.
For those who haven't seen it yet, and you need to go ahead and buy the Blu-ray, do it now. But it's funny because you don't see the characters because there's a wall of Ano text.
Yep.
You know, that's like
use imagination.
It's like a Kazumi essay about, you know, all the various science in Gunbuster, and it's just like, oh yeah, it takes like 3 minutes to get through, so we're gonna have 2 of the characters sing a duet together.
It's the best kind of fan service.
Yes. So such a good show, such great work by everybody
it's a classic
involved.
for a reason.
Yes, but it's one of those things where, and I think I saw Discotech mention this, that like when it released, you know, they had like an anniversary set of Cowboy Bebop that it outsold.
Wow.
And it was like, oh, you know, and I think the dub is a big part of that because it really opens up the audience.
That'd be amazing. I hope so. That, I mean, the Twitter is, the praise has been glowing, and I could not be happier. Everybody in the cast deserves it.
Yes. Yeah, you guys did just,
well, everybody in the team, I should say, not just the cast, like the script writers. Oh my gosh, the script writing is just incredible.
Yeah, it was just so well done. And you can tell just like a lot of care and effort went into it.
For sure.
So I'm gonna steer us back a little bit. As an actor, what is the biggest challenge for you?
Honestly, gotta think about that for a minute. I think that's a hard question. I haven't been asked that before. I need to think, what's the greatest challenge other than like logistics and things like that, because I do live in Austin. So I very often have to drive up to Dallas or wherever, usually Dallas, for recording sessions, which can be exhausting, but it's definitely worth it for sure. I would say the hardest part as an actor is trusting your instinct that if the director doesn't tell you that you need to do something again, then it's fine. It's good. Whereas for me, sometimes I will record a line and I'll be like, that sounded so wooden, or like, that doesn't sound good. And like, if I really feel strongly enough, I'll ask to redo it. But, you know, trusting the director to know when a take is going to be just right, I would say that can be the hardest, not because I don't trust them, but because I sometimes don't trust myself to give them what they deserve, if that makes sense.
Right.
I feel very outclassed by my castmates. So that would probably be the hardest thing for me, is some of that imposter syndrome, feeling like, oh wow, all these people are so talented and all this, I can't believe it. And because I'm also one of the older members, I'm probably actually one of the oldest members of I am probably the oldest member of the main cast. And so there's also that, wow, I'm with all these kids. What am I doing here? Why didn't they get someone younger? That sort of feeling. So, but those feelings are not valid.
Very well.
Yeah. But those feelings, for those listening, they're not valid. You can start voice acting at any age, at any time. Don't let any arbitrary limitation get in your way. Sometimes I just have to remind myself of that.
Basil, you've been too quiet. Or what have you got for me?
No, I was saying I understand. Like we are also fellow olds.
Yes.
In a sea of anime fan, and like this is later on, but I was so happy to see so many people much closer to my age. I am in my early 40s at FanFest. Like,
right. Yeah.
Previous FanFests, I felt like I was in a sea of like young 20-somethings. They were at oldest maybe in their early 30s.
I hear you completely.
Also, while I am now hoarding the interview temporarily, was Tiny Toons also your introduction to They Might Be Giants?
Yes.
Because that was mine.
Yes.
Again, I'm in. We're like,
yeah, we're
Freakazoid and Poogas and all that. Like, well, we're all in the same boat here.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, and so now it's really funny that I know my child's introduction to They Might Be Giants is the hot dog song from Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, which is, we reference it with our adult friends all the time too, whether they have kids or not. So, because They Might Be Giants knows no age.
And
they're timeless.
Because I cannot resist the urge. Guys, we interviewed Minnie Mouse, Caitlin Roperock, a couple of weeks ago. So go listen to that.
Oh, I'm gonna have to go give that a listen. That's amazing.
Yes, she was great. We talked about stupid movies, and it was a lot of fun.
My daughter Daisy loves Minnie Mouse.
Yeah, she was great. She was a lot of fun. So Melissa, one question I like to ask, because acting and voice acting can be such a feast or famine profession. What helps you stay motivated?
Oh, there's a few things. Some are kind of on a deeper side, and some are actually a little materialistic. So I'll start with the materialistic ones. I like the voice acting right now is not my main source of income. So I do tend to use some of it to get my daughter nice things, which is always a nice motivator. I know I'm sounding like one of those people whose kid becomes their entire personality. I swear that's not the case, but I do. I'm a cat lady, and now I'm a child lady too. So that's just how it is. But so that's always nice, getting nice things for my family. But also just there is a feeling of just accomplishment, and not just accomplishment, but it's that feeling you feel when you're doing the thing you're meant to do. That feeling of like that puzzle piece just fits right in a way that can't be described in any other way until you are successfully doing the thing that you've always wanted to do. And that feeling is so potent that it just stays with you. Anytime that you interact with somebody who's engaged with your work, anytime that you get to see your work, or you just remember, you're reminded of the work that you did, there's just a feeling of accomplishment and purpose that can't be replicated in any other way.
That's an excellent answer. Thank you for sharing some of that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost like that feeling. I tend to liken it. It's definitely like an endorphin adrenaline rush that for some people, the closest thing I can get it to is if you have ever had a really invigorating either like workout session or dance or party, that feeling that you get of just being completely just abuzz with delight and joy.
Oh, right. Like when we done with this interview with you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? That's
Yeah.
great. I was like thinking, or like when you get to see all these people that like the same thing you do at FanFest. That's also a good
Yeah.
one. Just like, oh, it's my people. It's my thing. I'm doing my thing, you know?
Yeah, I mean, doing these interviews is definitely that for me. It's always exciting whenever I hear back from somebody and just like getting to interact like this and get to know, people whose work I enjoy, a little bit better. It's always a big thing for me.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. That it makes me happy hearing what other people's thing is,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Basil, what about your thing? What's your thing?
I mean, right now, it's been when things go really well in that critically MMO Final Fantasy XIV. I could keep going with a meme, but
Now includes Stormblood, unlimited.
well, in
Well,
October.
it will be. It will be.
October, yeah.
Yes, in October, very soon. It will include Stormblood, which has some of the best trials. Some of the best
It is very
content.
good stuff. Or like, when we record a very good, podcast that is under 2 hours, my wife is happy about it.
Well, she does the Carbuncle Chronicle
Yes.
with you, right? Okay,
Yes.
so just wait. When I'm on that with you guys, it's gonna be a 2-hour one.
All right.
I think they'll be happy with that though.
I was gonna say I don't think she'll mind if
No.
it's
the inside baseball of that is that we use a service called Headliner to spout out podcast video versions, which is essentially just the cover art with like a fancy sound bar, but the limit for paying for it is 2 hours. So we like it under 2 hours because it's less work for her to have to spit out the video.
Gotcha. Valid.
And then sometimes we go a little long-winded, sometimes, occasionally.
Nothing wrong with that. I mean, you're doing what you do.
We've talked about a few of them, but are there any other interests outside of acting that you have that maybe we haven't talked about?
A lot. I have a lot of interests. I mean, obviously, we've talked about Final Fantasy XIV, which is my main, video game hobby. I like RPGs in general. I'm doing Baldur's Gate right now. I've actually not played it for 2 or 3 days, and I'm suffering some withdrawal, so I need to get back on that. I love RPGs. I used to do LARP quite a bit, as I mentioned before. I haven't done it recently, but every so often I get the tickle to go actually get fully in character, costume and everything. And that can be a lot of fun. I love cats. I have 4 of them. My father is a retired veterinarian, so I have a lot of animal experience. Cooking, gardening, the whole spiel. All that good stuff. So those are some of them. I just love animation in general.
Those are all fantastic. I'm waiting on the PS5 version of Baldur's Gate 3 to drop,
soon.
But that allowed me to finish Final Fantasy 16 in time. So
16 is so good. I liked that one.
Yeah, it's super good. I'll have things to say about it when we start podcasting on it, but it was a really good game. I did all the side quests, did all the hunts.
Me too. I did everything. I devoured it.
Yeah.
So good.
Just a really great game.
The music. Peak Soken.
Yes.
Yeah, he does good work.
He's a god. I love him so much.
I also love how the music style at certain points in the game changes completely from classic fantasy RPG to this is a little bit more synth, a little bit more techno.
And then there's that one fight. That one fight.
Hold on, which fight? Are we talking about the techno fight? Or are we talking about the holy crap, these strings fight?
I'm thinking of it's about the midpoint of the game. There are 2 guys who really want to kill each other.
I was about to say, do they have hands?
Like they get hands. It's the one I'm almost positive that it's Platinum Games, the one that worked on that particular section.
So good. Yes. Okay. I
know. pretty positive that's the one where Koji, the main localizer, is also doing vocals for.
Yes. Okay. Yes, we're talking about That's that's some good stuff. Koji, now that's a man who's living the dream, doing what he
Right.
was meant to do,
Right.
right?
I want to be him when I
God,
grow up.
we fantasy right there. Not only does he translate, not only does he do vocals in the band, not only does he get to go on all these tours, like if you're a Final Fantasy fan, that is like end game right there.
When you're in charge of the lore, but also like, oh, the main composer also wants to do a rock band. He wants to be the main vocalist. Okay.
Okay, I guess. And get to include all the awful dad jokes and puns.
Yes.
Well, Melissa, this has been absolutely wonderful. Deeply appreciate you taking the time to talk with us. But before we release you back into the wild, where can folks follow along with what you do?
Most of my posting, as far as like any work that I'm doing, typically is on Twitter, but there's a lot of other stuff that comes on my Twitter as well. So that's like, if you follow me on Twitter, you're getting me. You're not just getting voice acting me. So be warned.
All right. Well, Melissa, thank you so much, and we'll see you on the Carbuncle Chronicle for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh, did I say Twitter? What's it called? I'm still calling it Twitter.
No,
yeah,
it's still Twitter as far as we're concerned. Too.
Yeah.
It's still.
Yeah, I'm just like, at least that's where I am for now. We'll probably, until it burns down.
Yeah, which could be
Any
day,
time
a week from now. Who knows?
Any day now. You can also find me on Final Fantasy XIV on the Crystal Data Center. So, there's that.
Right. Well, thank you again. We will talk to you soon, and just appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Thanks for listening to yet another production of the AwesomeCast, your podcast for everything awesome. You can find us online at awesomecast.com, OSMCAST.com, or, wherever you find your podcasts, just search for AwesomeCast. You can also find us on the social medias, AwesomeCast at Twitter or on Facebook. Of course, you can also find our wonderful interview guru, the greatest living interviewer, John Robbins, at J5 is Live. Or perhaps you'd like to follow our amazing editor, Anna, at Angel Darkfire, or just me, at It's Basil Time on Twitter. Our theme song is produced by DJ Inabito, and you can find him online at djinabito.com. And once again, thanks for listening to the AwesomeCast. We appreciate you.
I'm going to go check out that Minnie Mouse podcast now.
Yeah, everybody should.